Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you're watching us from or you're watching this from. Uh, this is episode what? Annette, I was saying this is episode 8.
Yes.
Right, welcome to episode 8. We've been running a series that I've been trying to convince Amos to call, Tech Tuesdays, Thursdays. Yeah, so for the last couple of weeks, we've been running some webinars just trying to engage, empower, educate, our constituents here with regards to what's happening in the tech space. And so we welcome you to this particular webinar today, episode 8, and it's all about modernizing financial operations. So wherever you're joining us from, I know it's a cold morning here in the 254, right, in Nairobi. So please feel free to grab your cup of coffee, cup of tea, whichever the choice of drink is allowed for this particular time, right? And then let's just gear up for a very insightful session with regards to, how we can be able to modernize our financial operations using Dynamics Business Central. So karibu sana, and yeah, looking forward to a very engaging, insightful conversation that we're having today. Right. So before we go on ahead, would want to do some bit of a housekeeping. Right. So number one, we usually get this particular question. Are we recording the session? Yes, the session is being recorded. All right. And you should now expect a polished recording delivered to your inbox within 6 business days. And like I mentioned, for this particular webinar, and the reason why we do this particular webinars is for three things, right? Number one, we are looking to, have an engaging moment. We'd want to engage with you. Give us your ideas, your questions, your comments, and therefore we have set up a Q&A section, and you can be popping in your questions in there as we continue with the presentation, and we'd want to make it as engaging as possible. The other idea also for us running the webinar is also to, educate you in terms of what is happening with regards to tech and how can you best leverage that, and as well as empower you to be able to use the tech well to be able to drive you to your mission and your impact. Right, so with that out of the way, I think we can jump in to today's topic. Right, so, how do we navigate economic turbulence in the age of AI? So, AI is no longer just a buzzword. We know that the times have changed. And there are three things that you're seeing there on screen, right? There's stalling growth, there's looming uncertainty, and there's a way AI is reshaping everything. So, there's a disruption and opportunity converging across industries at the same time. On the one hand, growth is slowing down globally, uncertainty is rising, tariffs are driving up supply chain costs. I know if we are all watching the news, we've heard about the Strait of Hormuz. I don't know if I got that right, Amos. Is it the Strait of
100%.
Hormuz?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So we do understand what the impact, on supply chain and all that, and also inflation. And we know when all these things are happening, inflation is driving and is squeezing the margins for businesses, yeah. But at the same time, AI is reshaping everything. It is not just automating tasks, but it is also orchestrating smarter and faster decisions. So the winners will be those who use AI to predict disruption, not just react to it. That's a very, very interesting point right there. And another thing that we have realized, even as we've had discussions with regards to finance and operations, and with the leaders in this particular space, we've heard that nearly 85% of organizations struggle with agility. Now that we've talked about disruption, we've talked about the uncertainties in the economic environment, a lot of businesses are having a challenge, coping up with that. Nearly half of their teams are bogged down with fragmented processes. That's another statistic right there. And then over 80% say they do not have enough time to get their work done. We also hear from CFOs and COOs that they often that they are constantly in a reactive mode, right? You're always just trying to react to the things that are coming through, and they want real-time insights to steer performance proactively. So that's really the challenge that we are looking at, right? And with this challenge, we are saying that it's now time for us to embrace AI within the space of finance and operations. And if you're joining this webinar for the first time, we have been hopping on this particular conversation around AI because we believe that it's not just a buzzword, but it is what is changing how businesses are able to respond and drive impact in the 21st century, right? So we are saying that for organizations, for the future of finance operations, we would need to embrace generative and agentic AI. And we're going to go into those particular definitions, but we're saying nearly every process is right now is being reimagined, is being optimized, is being automated, and it is also AI-led. We're expecting that 15% of routine work, decisions will be made autonomously by 2028. Imagine that. Today, more than 80% of workers using AI say that it saves them time to focus on important work. And I think that has been a reality even for myself. When you try to do those particular proposals with the use of Copilot and AI, I'm getting to focus on the things that I need to do. So that statistic's well spot on. And with the and also with the rise of AI agents that can reason, plan, and act as digital labor, companies can scale capacity as needed. More than 80% of leaders say that they are confident that they will use digital labor to expand workforce capacity in the next 12 to 18 months. So that is very, very interesting statistics and also interesting concept called digital labor, whatever we're calling autonomous agents. And there's this particular quote that we usually like to mention here within our webinars as we talk about AI. It's from Joel Ramjon, and he mentions that Copilot is a force multiplier. Remember that we're dealing with capacity gaps, right? We're dealing with people feeling that like they do not have enough time to do their work, but still they need to increase productivity. So Joel Ramjon says that Copilot is a force multiplier. AI does a lot of the heavy lifting so the people we help do not fall between the cracks. So you'd be asking yourself then, how has this been evolving, right? Even in the space of finance and operations. So before 2023, the knowledge worker was responsible for, thinking, for, planning, for acting, for executing. The knowledge worker was everything. The email couldn't get sent if you didn't draft it, right? And that is before 2023. So all the work was being done by the human. But now come 2023, between 2023 and 2025, we now started seeing the rise of copilots. A copilot is basically an assistant running by you, helping you to do some of the, repetitive or whatever we'd call mundane tasks. Let's say, for example, drafting an email, response to probably a vendor or probably a client, things like that. So we started now witnessing, the human, planning, but then the AI is helping you to kind of execute those particular tasks. But now come 2026 and onwards, what we are seeing is that we are seeing what we're calling hybrid teams of humans and agents. Now, this is the new category for frontier teams, and they are leveraging digital labor. So digital labor is just in form of agents who are going to expand the capacity within your workforce. And so when you're thinking about things around, an invoice is coming in and that invoice needs to hit the system and needs to be recorded, that does not necessarily need to be done by a human. It can be done by an agent. And so that is where we are seeing the transition or the shift with regards to finance and operations going through when we're talking about AI. And so in the next bit, I just want to play a video for us and to see how frontier finance operations are actually using AI. So just let me know if you can be able to hear that.
Markets move fast. Finance has to move faster. Imagine having a team of AI agents to help you stay ahead. Agents that help you mitigate risk, that deliver insights from your data, sourced from your systems of record, and give you continuous visibility into your financials. They can plan, detect, reason, recommend, powering processes from end to end. like the process at the heart of finance, record to report. Develop accounting policies aligned with global standards. Monitor cash flow in real time. Plan and reforecast continuously. Record, reconcile, post, and analyze. All powered by AI that understands your data, follows your rules, and adapts to your business. Move your work forward with pre-built agents or build your own. This is more than technology. It's the future of finance. Scalable, dynamic, and ready for what's next.
Sorry, Edwin, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, just seen that technology. Right, sorry for that. Yes, I was saying that from that particular video, we can see how finance is now able to move faster in this particular day and age, and all this is based off of AI. But then, as you can see on screen, AI is only as good as the data it is grounded on. 83% of senior business leaders say that their organization's AI adoption would be faster if they had stronger data infrastructure in place. So AI basically runs on top of your system. So if you do not have a system that is unified, if you do not have a system that is consolidated, then it's going to be a challenge for that. And that's what that statistic is saying. And then again, 69% of top performing companies have implemented data modernization. So with regards to this particular statistic, then what we see next is the conversation of how do we unlock AI with unified data. So one of the challenges that we've always seen is that this is where sometimes on the left-hand side is where sometimes most organizations are at, right? Number one, we have silos. We're lacking visibility. It's very disconnected and we are wasting capacity. We're duplicating effort, right? The other bit is around complexity of the data in itself, right? It's redundant, it's inconsistent. And then, of course, the data is exposed, it's not protected. And for us to be able to, make sure that we are working in for us to unlock the capacity for AI, then we would need to shift from the left to the right, where we're looking at things around unified data, right? Data that is integrated, that it's available near real time, right? That is why we're talking about low latency. The other bit would be around clean data, right? So this is AI ready data such that when you're querying and you're trying to get feedback, it's ready there and available, and then it's real time and it's high quality, right? We have removed the redundancies and the inconsistencies within the data. And then, of course, at the heart of any implementation, especially with regards to AI, we have to think security. At the top of it, we have to figure out are we compliant? Are we compliant with, data protection rules, with things around GDPR, with every regulation that is there governing our data? Because for some of our businesses, we are handling critical data concerning our constituents, whether internal stakeholders or external stakeholders. So we want to make sure that it is well governed, that we are compliant with regulations, and that it's secure. So for us to be able to do that, we would need to move away from silos. We would need to have a single source of truth. And so from a business perspective, I know this is a reality for most of our organizations, right? We have certain departments that collaborate within themselves, but we do not necessarily have, kind of like a homogeneous collaboration within the organization. So sales could be talking to marketing, customer services just talking to the field technicians, but they're not coordinating the efforts between, customer service and sales. And all these are geared towards working for a particular customer. For example, you're looking at your e-commerce, your operations, your physical stores, they're communicating amongst each other, but they have an impact, on the other departments. So this is what we have seen, right? In terms of how data is siloed. And in such a structure, it's very, very hard to implement AI, because then now AI will be doing the runaround in terms of figuring out what is the latest in terms of, let's say, for example, customer data, because all this is being stored differently by different departments, right? So what we are looking at is basically centralizing that. Now, Dynamics 365, and today we're talking about Business Central, which is within the Dynamics 365 Business Suite. It's built on Dataverse that unifies data from different functions and systems, a single source of truth accessible across your organization. Without a single source of truth, then it's very hard for organizations to be able to leverage AI. So whether it is from customer interactions with your brand, to commerce interactions, to production and shipping activities across every line of business, so this helps to make your data ready to power agentic processes, right? And so if we move on, you can now be able to build things, like Copilot on top. So with Copilot and agents, Dynamics 365 can now start generating insights from predictive analytics to guide the next best actions across your organizations every day. Now, with agents, organizations can achieve better outcomes, from delivering a personalized shopping experience, to predicting customer demand, to delivering projects on time, to proactively mitigating supply chains disruptions, predicting cash flow, and many more, all while adhering to a world-class security. So remember, you'd want to do all this, but you also have to figure out, are you secure and are you compliant, right? So this is basically where we are aiming for each and every business to be, right? We are aiming for you to have unified data that then we can now start optimizing AI, as a fast process, right? And so for many businesses would have different priorities, right? Would have, your CEO and their major top priorities is all about how can they be able to increase revenue and profitability? How are they able to innovate and, gain the competitive advantage? How are they able to, steer things around employee culture and engagement? And that is different from what the finance leaders are looking at. Then they're looking at their financial health, and they're looking at timely and accurate financial data, and they're looking at also aligning business strategy with investment, which is also different from what the sales, is looking at, different from what the operations is looking at, and different from what IT is looking at. So we're trying to figure out how best can we be able to, use technology to be able to assist all these particular functions to be able to deliver on their priorities. And for today's conversations, we have decided to center that on two of those particular roles. So we're looking at finance, and we're looking at how can, Dynamics 365 ERP solutions with Copilot bring that incremental benefit for finance and operations, right? And like I mentioned, we'd want to start with finance. So the CFO's role is evolving to become, the transformation agent of their organization. They are in the prime position to see the incremental value of AI across the business process. They can ensure its funding, compliance, adoption in a manner that helps them to demonstrate value without creating more risk to the business. In addition to this, they also play a major role in shaping the mindsets of their employees. So the CFO is now, leading the AI strategy in terms of, defining the budget, ensuring compliance, controlling risk, and shifting mindsets. But they also have to do this, while still achieving their financial goals. And for them to do this, they need to gain visibility into the real-time financial data and processes across the different organization silos. They need to be able to, perform predictive analytics for strategic planning. And you see, the processes are highly complex and manual and span across disparate systems throughout the company and are vital to support business growth and organizational health and comply with regulations. So more than 60% of finance professionals are stuck in the drudgery of manual data entry and review cycles. While some of these tasks are critical and can't be automated, we also hear from most finance leaders that they lack the automation tools and technology they need to transform these processes and free up time. So this is the good news, with regards to critical processes like, record to report, forecast to plan, quote to cash are often impacted due to siloed and fragmented systems. Planning is reactive in nature, and generating actionable insights from data in a timely manner is very, very difficult. So most of the tasks are handled manually. There is a high risk of, failing to stay compliant. You further struggle with collections and poor cash flow and inability to forecast future cash flow accurately, resulting into ineffective planning of subsequent periods to deliver on your financial goal. This is no longer the case when you switch to ERP with the next gen AI. You are able to transform all this to things around you, automated accounts payables. You're able to automate credit risk assessments. You're also able to automate things around data integration and consolidation. You have things around dynamic pricing and quoting optimizations. All this is enabled when you actually get a cloud-ready ERP that has generative AI on top of it. And that is what we're talking about today, which is Business Central. Right, so you can break down these silos, generate actionable insights in real time, and automate a lot of tasks within each of the critical record to report or quote to cash or forecast to plan processes to drive process efficiencies. You can improve accuracy in reporting and significantly improve your planning and decision making to achieve your financial goals. Now, with the Dynamics 365 solutions, you can prioritize the scenarios that you want to make it a part of your company's AI strategy with capabilities available to you out of the box, and also use low-code extension tools like Copilot Studio to customize some of them for your specific business needs. Now, what this does, it translates to how your cloud ERP can achieve your KPIs with better visibility into financial and operational data across various silos to generate actionable insights that will drive better decisions. Automation of tasks is very, very important, which will also allow you to be able to improve your cash flow, automate things like reconciliations, which we hear a lot as a challenge, accelerate period closing. You can also provide better scenario planning, which is very, very important, right? And also improve forecast and budget accuracy. And lastly, you can stay compliant with timely financial reporting. Most important, get ahead of the potential risks and proactively mitigate them. So as someone in finance, this is the benefit that you get, when you now decide to get a cloud-ready ERP that has AI on top of it. You are now able to now define smoothly your KPIs and look towards achieving them efficiently and faster. Now, let's look at the operation side of things, right? Operation leaders have an imperative to navigate the dynamic market conditions and deliver their products and services to their customers on time, efficiently, all while dealing with workforce shortages, supply chain disruptions, and the pressure of constantly driving the cost down. They need to go beyond cost reduction to drive innovation, growth, and sustainability initiatives. So that looks like it's almost like a catch-22 conversation. They need to become more resilient by predicting and proactively mitigating supply chain disruptions due to the weather, geopolitics, like we are currently looking at right now, and also other external forces outside their control. Right? So with regards to, similar to finance processes, operations are also impacted due to, siloed and fragmented systems. And you'd hear us talk about this. AI is only as good as the data that is grounded on. And the idea is, how do we break down these particular silos? People are at the center of service organizations, and service organizations struggle with quickly finding the right talent, onboarding them into the roles, retaining them, and keeping them engaged. They are challenged with acquiring projects, improving win rate, and put out competitive proposal bids to win them. They struggle with real-time monitoring of project delivery, quality of execution, adherence to budget and schedules. Scheduling resources by accounting for all the constraints and demand is also extremely difficult, often resulting in capacity being underutilized, which also results in unforecasted overtime at the end of the period to make up for lost throughput. So, and lastly, companies often struggle with holding vendors accountable to beat their KPIs. They lack visibility into their vendors' business health and proactively predict and mitigate risks. They also struggle with easily identifying and onboarding vendors. Lastly, you are more prone to reactive maintenance and unpredictable production downtime due to the lack of preventive or predictive maintenance program in place. And so with the next gen AI and cloud ERP, you are able to automate tasks like hiring, using AI to source and screen talent, overcome standardized one-size-fits-all onboarding with a more personalized onboarding experience. You can also manage performance in a more continuous and unbiased manner, helping bridge skills gap more contextually and efficiently, resulting in improved execution excellence, improved employee performance, and overall better engagement. You can get better visibility into your vendors and proactively identify and mitigate potential disruptions. You can also automate supplier identification and onboarding. You see, so these are some of the benefits that we are seeing, that a cloud-ready ERP with AI on top of it is able to now give the people within the operations department. Right. So with regards to your return on investment, when you're telling you to, look at, an ERP that has AI on it, what are we thinking, right? Number one, it can enable you to make better decisions. Right? That is a very key thing. By providing more access to data and enhancing your analytics and reporting capabilities, you can base your decisions on comprehensive, accurate information. This will lead to more effective strategies and ultimately better business performance, right? You can also eliminate manual workloads. You can also automate key processes using AI. You can also be compliant, and this is very important. The right system makes it easy to comply with audit requirements and regulations. And I can tell you how many people within the finance and operations world have a nightmare when it comes to auditing, right? So the right system helps you to comply with audit requirements and regulations. It provides the necessary tools and documentation. And that is usually the important bit when we're talking about documentation. When it comes to audit, it's all about documentation. Where is it sitting? Is it current, right? So it provides the necessary tools and documentations to ensure you meet all regulatory standards, reducing the risk of non-compliance. The other thing, of course, it enhances your digital security. Right? With secure access on mobile devices, you can protect sensitive information and maintain the integrity of your systems, no matter where your employees choose to work. And this has become a reality ever since COVID, that people are not necessarily working from the office. They're working from different locations. We have hybrid models. We have work from home models, and you'd want to make sure that wherever your employees are at, that your information is secure. So this ease of use helps your employees to stay connected in and out of office. And lastly, you can boost productivity by connecting data and processes to the apps that your employees already use every day. These are things like Microsoft Outlook. Think about Excel, Teams. Give them access to information they need without constantly switching between applications. So that's a very, very important thing. So by using the right system, your business can unlock growth in multiple areas, from making better business decisions to boosting productivity, right? And now let's look at, Business Central, right? At high level, this is what Business Central would look like, and this is how it would help you to transform your business, right? Business Central enables you to adapt faster. Remember, we talked about agility, right? I think the statistics were about 83% of businesses are struggling with agility. Business Central helps you to adapt faster with the security, flexibility, and scalability of the Microsoft Cloud. This means that your business grows, right? Business Central scales to support you, ensuring you remain agile and capable of responding to changes quickly. That is very, very important. It also enables you to work smarter with things around Microsoft Copilot and seamless connectivity to, your Microsoft 365 application. Business Central is the first comprehensive business management solution that uses Microsoft Copilot to streamline workflows. And we're going to show you how that looks like, to automate tasks, to deliver real-time insights, allowing your team to focus on strategic goals and stay competitive. Right? And then by combining Business Central with Microsoft 365, you can create a workspace where your employees can easily share information, they can collaborate on projects and access all the tools they need in one place. And by harnessing the power of AI and working with applications they already use, teams can be more productive, collaborative, and impactful. Business Central also helps your business to perform better and deliver the bottom line results. And I think at the end of the day, if you're working in finance and operations, the bottom line is key. Improving processes with guided workflows and automation, accelerate month-end and year-end financial close, and make data-driven decisions with real-time dashboards, flexible reports, AI-driven insights, sustainability tracking, and even KPIs for each role. So these are some of the benefits that we are seeing that you would get when you take Dynamics 365 Business Central. Right. And this is how Business Central truly does it, right? Unifying single systems of record and systems of engagement into a single source of truth. Remember, again, I'm going to insist on that AI is only as good as the data that is grounded on. So you need a single source of truth, right? While Business Central alone is more than enough for many businesses, we take the step further, through AppSource, you can get some, leading insights and scope, right? Business Central is also partner-led, so that we can be able to extend, some of your solutions to industries, regions, and workflows that we specialize in, right? So you can actually get us to come in and kind of map and tweak and tailor, and you'll see that in a few in terms of agents. You can have what we call pre-built agents and what we call custom agents. So pre-built agents are the agents that come out of the box. These are things that Microsoft have seen, or processes that Microsoft has seen that cut across major industries and have built agents to do that. But you can have a specific, need for your organization, and therefore you would need somebody to be able to help you to do that. So like we say, Business Central is supported by partners like ourselves, and we are able to now help you to be able to extend. BC is also powered by AI, right? So it helps you to spend some time, it helps you to scale with regards to automation, right? And at the end of it all, it's natively integrated with your Microsoft ecosystem. That becomes one of the biggest, selling points and points of ROI. So you're using all of the tools that you're used to in one particular place. So there's no middleware and there's no bloat. And did I mention that there's no other vendor who offers the breadth of the Microsoft Cloud, while continuing to be modular and extensible, so users can start with what they need today and adapt as they grow. So most businesses would start with their Microsoft 365 suite, then they would build probably into their ERP, then they would want to now come and build some of their processes using Power Platform. They would now want to build some agents or build some custom application with developer tools. They'd want to shift some of their applications to the cloud, using Microsoft Azure. So Microsoft allows you to be able to modularize this and also, bring them on as and when you need that. So it can't get any better than this. Right. And so it's critical for CFOs and COOs to foster strong synergies to create a more agile, efficient, and growth-oriented business, right? So cloud ERP and AI is number one valued technology and a catalyst that provides them with the unified platform to realize this vision, right? It is ranked uh, the most valued technology, outperforming the likes of, Emo and Gen AI, right? More than 70% of enterprises plan to upgrade or replace their ERPs in the next couple of years. That's a very interesting statistic. We've had clients come in and say, we've been using this particular ERP, we need to get onto the next one. So these are conversations that we hear from time to time. And when you're making that decision, what are we trying to help you do? We're trying to make sure that you get onto the latest and the best. And that would be number one, an ERP that is on the cloud, and number two, an ERP that is AI ready. And that is why we're talking about Business Central today. Right. So what are the reasons why we believe that customers should choose Dynamics 365? Number one, again, talking about single unified platform. This is very important. Common data is very important. So you can break down the silos and enable interoperability, right? In addition to that, you get the agility of Power Platform, and things like Copilot Studio to customize apps and automate workflows. And we're going to show you how that looks like in some videos, and also as Amos comes in with a demo, right? The other thing that you also able to access some vertical apps, within the ecosystem that are able to address some of the things that you're looking at. Of course, security is very key, right? Your data is your data. It's within your tenant and nobody has access to it. That is very, very important. And then you can be able to use the tools that come in with Microsoft to be able to determine who gets to access what. And of course, at the end of the day, having all these things together helps you to significantly reduce your cost. And that really, really helps with things around the bottom line. Right. With that being said, this is what we're seeing. We're talking about the world of agentic ERP, right? And this is what BC has, agentic ERP. And this helps you to adapt to market shifts. Remember, we talked about agility. It helps you to, increase your decision velocity, right? And also helps you to mitigate risks and stay compliant by driving business continuity. You can be able to leverage now things around Microsoft, Copilot, right, within your Dynamics ERP, and it helps you to be able to, reason with the data, use natural language interface to be able to ask questions of it, and also to be able to go, the whole length of kind of like customizing and building workflows for you. That is what this particular application would allow you to do at the end of the day. And these are the benefits that we'd see, in terms of your profitability. You will be able to reduce, time by 50%. You'll be able to improve efficiency by 20%. With regards to your business performance, you'll be able to save up to 40%, of time by, doing things like summarization of, the interactions with your customers. 50% reduction in variance between, the forecast that the revenue forecast and what you actually realize. And then things around agility, because we are living in uncertain times, you are able to navigate that particular scenario very quickly, right? 60% more likely to succeed in building with Copilot. I have said much. I'd want to play one or two videos just to show you how this particular, agents look like. So we're going to start with one which is pre-built agents. And like I mentioned, agents are basically, autonomous AI that are able to run end-to-end workflows for you so that the human does not have to do the work. So there's those ones that are pre-built and there are those ones that are custom, and we're going to showcase that in a few. So let's watch this particular video. Let me know if it plays. Okay.
And not yet.
Microsoft Copilot and agents in Dynamics 365 ERP solutions are set to transform the way your business operates. Agents can become part of everyday workflows, like autonomously managing and collaborating with suppliers to confirm order delivery, proactively addressing risks, and preempting costly delays, or helping finance teams close their books faster by matching and clearing transactions between ledgers, or helping service delivery teams manage time and expense entry by creating expense submissions and time entry recommendations. And this is just the beginning. Microsoft's agents are powered by our rich data cloud, bringing data together from across your organization. Productivity data in Microsoft Graph, with business process data in Microsoft Dataverse, and thousands of connectors to third-party systems. The agents learn alongside you and continuously improve by proposing updates to its logic for your review. You are in control. With agents performing the task on your behalf, you and your teams can scale quickly to minimize risk and exceed customer expectations, enhance cash flow visibility and business decision-making, and ensure projects stay on track and within budget. And if you have a unique business challenge, you can build your own agent with Copilot Studio to meet your needs. All this while adhering to comprehensive security measures and designed using Microsoft's responsible AI principles. Start today with Copilot and agents in Dynamics 365 ERP solutions.
All right, so that's an example of a pre-built agent. So like I mentioned, if you go into Dynamics Business Central, you'll be able to find some certain agents that have already been customized for you or built for you by Microsoft that help you to do certain activities. But businesses usually have some unique use cases for themselves, right? And they might want to, be able to build their own agents that are able to uniquely, solve their own challenges. And that's why, again, this platform is good, because then you are able to use things around Copilot Studio, Visual Studio, and GitHub to be able to kind of like extend the power of, or bring in the power of AI on top of your data set. So just to show you how that would look like, let's have a watch of this.
Procurement is a multitasking balancing act of data digging, supplier research, analysis, and communication. This can become even more complex, as in healthcare, where timely, cost-effective supply delivery is critical to both the organization and the people they serve. Maya, a procurement specialist, is working to get time-sensitive medical supplies. She uses an AI procurement agent to help review requisitions, find suppliers, and issue purchase orders. The agent autonomously validates incoming purchase requisitions against company policies. For each item, it checks existing inventory and delivery records to find a suitable supplier based on speed, cost, sustainability, and risk. If the same supplier is identified for multiple items, it consolidates them into one purchase order. Let's see how one of these agents is created.
Sorry, did it pause?
Copilot Studio. A maker can simply describe what they want an agent to do. In this case, they want to create an agent that will review new requisitions against company policies, find the best suppliers for each product, and issue purchase orders to those suppliers. They name it, press Create, and then add concrete capabilities and reasoning, choosing an MCP server for ERP. This model context protocol catalogs and coordinates the actions agents can perform and the data they can access to complete complex goals. These can be modified at the server level without touching client code, and can even use additional MCP servers made by partners to integrate with multiple systems. With that set, simply publish. And with that, the procurement agent is up and running, ready to transform requisitions into point of sale, and point of sale into products in hand, helping to ensure critical supplies reach their destination on time and in full. Now let's take a look at how agents can up-level the payment side of the house. Handling invoices at scale is time-consuming and expensive. As exceptions pop up and purchase volume grows, manual mitigation falls behind. AI agents can automate this process, enabling quicker handling, lower costs, and self-improving systems that evolve to meet the growing demands of a complex information landscape. Amari, an accounts payable specialist, is reviewing invoices for their latest order of medical supplies. She sees that a new set of invoices have been processed with exceptions automatically mitigated by the invoice processing agent. When a new invoice is received, it runs through a three-way matching process, checking for an associated purchase order and product receipt. The agent tracks for unmatched invoices and finds any missing documents so the invoice can be processed for payment. Amari is then notified that an invoice has been processed with exceptions mitigated, ready for payment. Let's see how one of these agents is also created in Copilot Studio. Here again, makers simply describe what they want an agent to do. For this, they want to create one that will review incoming invoices, evaluate information against company accounting policies, automatically mitigate exceptions, and issue payment if everything checks out. They name the agent, click Create, and then define its capabilities and logic by selecting an MCP server for ERP. This Model Context Protocol coordinates the available actions and accessible data, enabling agents to complete complex goals. These configurations can be updated at the server level without modifying client code. You can also incorporate additional MCP servers made by partners to integrate with multiple systems. Once configured, the agent is fully operational, ready to process incoming invoices and equipped with a suite of tools to handle issues that arise. AI agents are force multipliers, poised to transform business from the ground up. Your people will be able to operate at a higher level, focusing on key priorities while the tedium takes care of itself. Makers will enjoy a robust suite of easy-to-use tools infused with next-level capabilities through MCP servers, from which to effortlessly build an endless array of agents customized to meet their needs. And companies will benefit from reduced costs and increased efficiency, streamlining processes to maintain a critical adaptive edge in an ever-evolving world. Learn more about Dynamics 365 MCP servers at aka.ms/MCP for D365.
All right, and that has just been a showcase of how then you can extend, things around your processes internally to be able to, run AI and make sure that that is contextualized to your organization. And these are some of the advantages that we see. You are able now to do things proactively in terms of mitigating supplier risk. You're able to close your books faster. You're able to, maximize your revenue capture, with more faster, accurate time and expense entry and approval. There's a lot of things that you're able to do when you start now having what we're calling agentic business processes. One of the case studies that we have here is, from Microsoft, and a part of the treasury and finance planning and analysis team at Microsoft was piloting Copilot for Finance to automate and simplify data reconciliation processes and improve productivity. So before Copilot, they were spending on average 1 to 2 hours per week reconciling data across hundreds of accounts in a month. With Copilot, they are saving 20 minutes per account or at 22% cost savings in average handling time. So these are some of the benefits that we are seeing coming to our customers with regards to, starting to use applications that are ready for ERP. One last video before I call in Mr. Amos with regards to then what we're looking at from an AI perspective.
Microsoft is leading the way to autonomous and adaptive ERP. Today, you'll get to see exactly what that looks like. By infusing AI across our ERP capabilities, we're helping every decision maker to optimize their strategic decision making and empowering every individual to improve their productivity by automating and expediting operational processes. Let's take a look at Copilot across our portfolio. Today, strategic decision-making depends on teams spending days on data collection, slicing and dicing, and data analysis. Now, thanks to powerful AI and Copilot, that's no longer the case. Say, for example, a decision-maker is exploring expansion and wants to understand opportunities in APAC. With Copilot, they can instantly unlock an incredible understanding about this or any business scenario in seconds. Next, Copilot empowers them to model out what-if scenarios and set up short and long-term plans for that expansion. They're able to visualize the information in any way they want, making it easy to then turn those plans into action. Going forward, they can analyze the performance of the expansion with Copilot, identifying issues, analyzing variances against expected performance, and choosing adjustments. With Copilot, they're able to quickly turn strategic decisions into action. Next, we're helping teams to transform their operational processes. Today, the amount of time spent on keeping an ERP process flowing, the entering, re-entering, copying, pasting, and matching required for a simple process, never mind a process where a problem comes up, is truly ridiculous. We knew a huge transformation of how business areas operate every day was possible. For example, in finance, accounts receivable and accounts payable operations have been completely reimagined. Take invoice processing. Slow, manual capturing and matching in the past has been entirely automated. What's more, Copilot takes it to even higher heights by identifying exceptions, providing root cause analysis, and presenting immediate fixes. In supply chain, operations have become far more adaptive and efficient. For example, vendors often ask to adjust deadlines. Previously, teams spent hours each day reviewing requests to figure out the impact of accepting them. Now, Copilot instantly reviews each request, identifies the downstream impact, suggests solutions to avoid any problems, and actions them. What's more, with AI-powered business process exploration capabilities, risks such as supplier performance are easily identified and solved. Where teams are running service-centric operations, they no longer need to take time away from progressing those projects to manually produce regular project and practice updates. Copilot generates reports in seconds, keeping management satisfied and up to date. And every business process can be improved with AI-driven process mining identifying and proposing solutions to bottlenecks. With Copilot solutions across every business area, the long talked about future of autonomous AI-led ERP is here now. Our solution, built upon the extensible market-leading Microsoft platform, with compliance, security, and trust at the core of every capability, transforms strategic decision-making and automates and expedites operational processes in every business area. We can't wait to show you more.
All right. And just as Ovidia said, we can't wait to show you more. This is the time where I invite Amos to indeed show us more, and take us through, how that would look like on a live demo.
Excellent, and thanks, Edwin. I think there's so much that we can cover when it comes to Dynamics, ERP, and these kinds of solutions, and sometimes trying to unpack everything in a way that we can't be able to cover everything that is possible becomes a bit tricky. But I think just to kick off, it would be good to get a quick poll. I don't know whether, Annette, we have the quick poll where we can get to just know how many of us are familiar already with the Dynamics 365, Dynamics Business Central, so that I know what really to cover. I know we are almost at the top of the hour, so I really want to just focus on what would be of interest. So let's see, how many of us are very familiar or never used it before. Probably we should have also had an open question where you tell what exactly would you want to see. Edwin has presented a whole aspect of what the solution is all about, what Dynamics 365 can do, and on a high level, and even talked about all the capabilities around AI. But let's see. Yes, I'm very familiar. Yes, I've heard but never used it. Fantastic. That sounds 50-50, so good to go. All right, so I'll move away from the slides for a second, and so for now that most of us are already familiar with Dynamics 365, the ERP, this is more or less what you get when you access the solution. in terms of the interface. And I think one of the key things that I would want to highlight is that which Edwin mentioned during the earlier part of the walkthrough, is that Dynamics 365 more or less embeds with your other Microsoft 365 tools. So when you're on your email, you can be able to, for example, create quotes and so forth. But more or less, even when you're, for example, on Teams, and this does not currently does not require you to have for example, you want to allow the rest of your team to engage with the list of the vendors, or the list, not to write back, but to see list of vendors and so forth. Then you're able to actually come on Teams and embed, for example, in this case, I've just embedded the list of the customers, and it uses your Microsoft 365 license to allow you to access this information. It's not for where you need to write back to Business Central, but basically in terms of the interaction, where you have a wider team that need to access this information. This is quite fantastic, because then it allows you to work with even outside of your finance, and it's quite easy to bring it on Teams. You just go in and say, I want to add a tab, and choose that I had already selected Business Central, so it's one of the top solutions. And then when it does the authentication, it allows you to select what you want to have seen on this particular side, which if you have, like in my case, I have many different environments. For today, we'll be using the Sibasi DMS. Then I can be able to pick out whichever the company that I'm going to be showcasing. I think I'll use Kronos, and then show that, for example, I want to see the bank accounts, or I want to access the chart of accounts. And the moment I do that, then we are able to actually, every person who's within that particular team can be able to engage with that information. Quite fantastic. And the whole bit about this is that Business Central works with your entire suite of your Microsoft, the productivity tools, also along with the way you would actually interact with the tools on a day-to-day. Now, back to Business Central. Now that we have, I think, 50-50 distribution of those who are familiar with Business Central and not, I'll quickly just run through what do you get within Business Central, and why you should consider it if you're not already using this as a solution. So out of the box, its core is around the finance. So the first bit when we start any setup is we go and set up what we call the chart of accounts. So this would be your standard, if you're in the nonprofit sector or government, you may not, be tracking your customers per se, but you most likely will still have to do your financial accounts at the end of the financial year. So you'll have your assets, you'll have your liabilities, you'll have your equity, and all these aspects of the accounting. This is just core accounting aspects. But the best part about Business Central is that while it stems from a background that is purely finance, and looks at everything from a lens of how do you then keep track of, for example, when you receive payments, that you want to quickly be able to see where your payments are coming from, how is the balance and so forth in the account. Then for those of us who are not from a finance background, it allows you to quickly get information about whatever aspects that you have. So for example, I want to drill down, I've gone in and I'm seeing this cash, and then I want to see what transactions actually generated this. It's as easy as just clicking one, and then it takes you down to get to see, okay, these are the payments. If there are any vendor payments that we did, whatever aspects of how the money is flowing in, you can quickly just run through it. And for each transaction, it can tell you what the summary of what actually cost that transaction to actually be, and doing all the accounting, bookkeeping aspects of the double entry and so forth. That's a high level of quick summary of what you get in terms of the chart of accounts and the way Business Central does your core finance. So of course, you'll have your balance sheet accounts, you'll have your income statement accounts. I think now that is going into the finer details about what you get to do along with when you're setting up your chart of accounts, which is very important when you're going to do now your standard things, your trial balances and so forth. I won't go into the nitty-gritties of that because of time, and we would want to have some portion of to have a Q&A. So I'll move on to the next bit. So you set up your chart of accounts. Then other aspects is you'll need to set up what we call your general journals. And in this case, your general journals allow you to be able to do what we call posting. So for example, I'll come and say there's some transactions that we post on a monthly basis. And whenever I'm posting them, I'll do them as a batch. And this is how exactly they need to be set up. So this is something that we go in and do the setup behind the scenes one-off. And then going forward, it becomes very easy in terms of even for your core accounting activities, in terms of writing into the right accounts. If there's, for example, you deal with VAT or you deal with, aspects to do with, your withholding tax and everything, then this allows you to, set up how do you want transactions to be noted within the system, making it quite easy to work with. The other aspects is that with Business Central, and this is something that you'll find that makes it very easy. You don't need to remember where everything is. So for example, in this particular case, at the end of the month, Edwin mentioned that you need to do bank reconciliation. And these are now where you start seeing some of the advantages. So the moment you start typing, it is able to give you, and you'll see that default search, it will bring all the aspects of what you might be looking for. So for example, you're looking for list of customers. You don't need to remember where do I go to get the list of the customers. You just go up there, do the search, and then the moment you, if I go in and say, okay, I want to actually work with the customers list, it will be able to bring that up quite easily, and you select and you can get to see that information. Something that Edwin highlighted in terms of saving time, and that's one of the aspects that I want to show you now where AI comes on, is that when you have, for example, bank reconciliation, if there's something that I know most of us, all organizations struggle with, is you've recorded all these transactions, and then you come in and you're seeing some balance, but you also need to be able to actually reconcile bank transactions with transactions that you have on the system. Now, pretty good in terms of I can go in and just say I want to import the bank statement, which we can also be able to automate for you. But besides bringing in and then giving you what are your bank ledger entries and then trying to reconcile, there's this nifty feature that comes with AI that you can go and say reconcile. And what it does is that using the AI capabilities goes and picks and shows you which transactions auto-matched, which transactions Copilot can assist in matching based on either the amount or the details about it, and so forth. And then when you say keep it, then it basically saves you a lot of time when you're doing these aspects of what we call the bank reconciliation. That's just one aspect of AI. I'll not go further into this, but then you come in, for example, if you deal with your customers, and then earlier sent a mail from this email called training saying that please send a quote for your Athens chairs, and it's because I know this particular company sells the chairs. So what you'll see is that up here, I have this agent that more or less receives the email, and the moment I go into it and say, okay, I want to look at the details, it picks it up, first of all, identifies that it is a sales-related transaction, identifies that actually we do not have this particular person as a contact within Business Central, so you can be able to create the details just 2 clicks. But besides that is that because it has already read the details, then I can come in and say either give it specific instructions, maybe tell it to use a particular item, or I can just go and say continue. And while you can do this now for, it will start actually doing the task in the background. As soon as it's done, then it will be able to actually feedback that to us. On another side, I can also be able to do this with what I would call the payables agent. And this again, I'd sent within we had received for the BC webinar an invoice that had the specific details that we need to be paid for this particular from Kipande Creative Agency. So when I go in on Business Central, it picks out that information, understands that this is actually an invoice that we need to process, and then look, when you open it, you can be able to see the details, you can view the PDF to get more details about what it's about. But besides this, and this is where also aspects of document management and so forth get done. You can also go and tell it, okay, continue and process that particular invoice. This is where now you start seeing the capabilities of AI, meaning, like in this case, you can also, of course, tell it when you receive an invoice, go and pick all the details and just handle the entire aspects about that particular email. Now, when we were going through and when Edwin was doing the walkthrough, he mentioned that there is this aspect of agents that come within Business Central itself. And as it, you are able to actually set it up to be either autonomous and so forth. But then there is also other capabilities of what we are able to do in terms of Business Central itself, where we have the custom agents. And this is a quick showcase of a custom agent that uses still Microsoft 365. And in this one, it does not only handle emails that are invoices, but also receives emails for requests for introduction and so forth. For those that it can be able to respond, it responds immediately. It does not wait for human intervention. But in other cases, you have, for example, this is an invoice. And what I've done is the same invoice that I was showing from Kipande Services on Business Central is what we set up on this other side. But basically, I can go in and actually see the details of that particular email, of course, with the attachment. But because it also understood that this is an invoice, actually goes in and reads the details of the invoice and sets it up in this particular aspect where you actually can see the line items of the details. And then these can also be directly posted, or we can create it such that it goes and creates the line items. And then you have a manual step where you come in and say, okay, this is the list of the invoices. We've already read the details, and we want to actually post this into the solution. Now, this is all fantastic. Of course, for us who are, at decision-making level, and you need to be able to use the solution to actually, make decisions in terms of are we, are the finances being well handled and so forth. Then within Business Central itself, you not only get these summary cards that give you, how many sales orders, for example, or purchase orders that are open. We can do things like aging, where we can tell you that for this particular vendor, you have stayed for more than the period that you've agreed with that particular vendor and so forth. But besides all these many things that you can get, there is also, and for those who have joined some of our previous webinars, we've talked about the capabilities that you get with Power BI. And in this case, let me see if I can expand this one. So with Power BI, of course, now you get these finer analytics where you already have all the data sitting within your Microsoft 365 Business Central. But then you need to be able to slice and dice the data where you want to understand which product sells the highest, which company is, you work with actually is your best customer, or even have much more fancier, kind of dashboards that, for example, if I go into this one, let me just expand. You can be able to actually go in and get a full financial overview of your organization, looking at, all this information that has been placed within your various aspects, so that you can get the full financial overview, return on assets, customers, vendors, and so forth, asset or turnover ratio, whatever the ratios that you have. And the best part is because all this information then has been placed in one within the same database or same system, then you are able actually to now pull in and get these many kinds of reports. Now, because of time, I'll just hop on back and just get to summarize what basically we are talking about. Business Central has very many capabilities. In fact, when I was showcasing this, I didn't actually go into this particular aspect where you can get to see what are the capabilities of what Business Central has. You can manage your inventory, you can manage your sales aspects, you can manage things to do with your purchasing, things to do with if you're in the manufacturing, if you handle warehousing. All those aspects actually come within this, and it's taking a bit of time because I'd already expanded. I'd come here and told it to expand all the various capabilities because I wanted to list them down. But basically, it has all these many different aspects of what you can be able to do within the system. One of the things that you'll see with this is that the moment you implement this kind of system across your organization, first is that it saves you a lot in terms of the time. You've seen that these AI tools are able to actually synthesize data much faster. But besides that is that you'll see that within a short period of time, that the benefits that you get from the system are quite huge compared to the cost of actually implementing the solution. The good thing is that with Business Central is actually tailor-made for small and medium enterprises, but then it's able to actually scale up and support organizations that are huge. In terms of the AI, the data that sits within Business Central is never used for training the AI tools. So that means then the security of your information sits within your particular organization. And there are many capabilities that of what we can be able to do. And I think Edwin went into a lot more detail, highlighting what are the agents, what we can be able to do with the analysis, getting quick reports. But as an organization, this is what we recommend, that by implementing these solutions, you get to deliver more effectively. And then you have better stakeholder engagement. If you have these systems, then you're able to respond faster to your vendors, you're able to respond faster to your customers, you're able to respond faster to your donors when you're asked about your financial reporting. If you have auditors, then you already have this information sitting within your system. But the other aspect is that you get better operational efficiency and security. At the end of the day, we want to say that we at Sibasi, we are an IT and AI native technology company, and we help organizations to achieve success and have an impact. In fact, that is our core mission, to provide services and solutions invested and integrated into your business for you to achieve success and have an impact. We are a Microsoft Gold partner. We assist organizations on a day-to-day to implement these kinds of solutions along three main areas. One is intelligent business platforms, your ERPs, board management, smart memo, monitoring, evaluation, and reporting, or Microsoft Digital Transformation, with your productivity systems. And the other key area is around the advisory and consulting. And while there are very many types of solutions that we can be able to implement, we are happy to be able to, discuss with you and see how we can best support you. But hopefully, within the day-to-day, you actually went with these three key takeaways. The first one is that if you're looking at becoming what we call a frontier firm, a firm that is an organization that is transforming how your teams work, then you need to consider how your teams and these AI tools and the agents come together so that you have the best in terms of the two sides of what AI can do and what human beings can do. The second key thing is that with the agentic workflows, you can be able to have these pre-built agents that can help you, to adopt and have faster time to, faster delivery, faster, engagement, and then the human beings can now end up doing what is a human kind of work, while you let the AI tools do what really AI tools and these technological tools can be able to do best. And the other aspect is that you can be able to scale your adoption across your organization by considering looking at Business Central and looking at just the many aspects of what this and the benefits that you can be able to get from this particular system. I think I'll pause there, and I don't know whether, Edwin, we had any immediate questions that you would want to hop on before we actually get to give the high-level latest news. What I would say is that there's a lot to unpack when it comes to Business Central. Just showcasing the demo, sometimes within an hour and a half, we are not able to actually cover all the aspects of this, and even implementation of the system, because it considers very many aspects of the organization, can take a long time. But we hope that with this overview, you've managed to probably pick out a few things that would be of interest and something that would be of benefit to your organization. I don't know whether, Edwin, there was any immediate question before probably we hop on to the latest news.
Right, awesome, Marcos. Thanks for that. Right, I see no kind of questions. I'm thinking that it was straight to the point, right? Meaning that it made sense. I'm thinking it made sense here, right? And like you mentioned, probably 1.5 hours is not enough for us to begin to talk about the depth of the product in a sense. But I think the idea for today was basically to kind of showcase what are the capabilities that reside within Dynamics Business Central. If you're a client that is already using that, then now you are, empowered in terms of this is the scale that you can be able to get to. If you're probably using a different ERP and are thinking of switching, then now you have info in terms of what to look for. Even from a decision perspective, when you're looking for any particular, technology application today, I think one of the things that is going to be core, like we mentioned for 2026, is going to all be about how do we use AI, how do we use agents, how do we force multiply Basically, how do we get to do more with less human resources and more tech resources? And I think that was the major objective of today's conversation, and just honing that within the Business Central space. So I think almost like you mentioned, I think it's been straightforward, right? A lot of things are coming up definitely in that particular space, and like Amos has mentioned, we are really keen on helping organizations to be able to leverage on their tech as much as possible. So feel free to reach out to us with regards to any particular processes that you think need automation, or that you think need, the power of AI in it, and we are able to, get back to you on that. Yeah, so I think for me that's the piece that I wanted to mention even before the before the latest news. Yeah, but there I think on the screen Amos has just put our contacts, how you're able to reach us. We do thank you for taking the time to be on this particular webinar. If you are a regular, thank you for taking time to always come along with us. I think we mentioned this is episode 8. Yeah, looking forward to more episodes coming up, but we're hoping that these particular sessions have been engaging, educating, and as well as empowering to you. But I think we can segue into what do you have in terms of latest news, even before we end the webinar.
Fantastic. Yeah, so I think my first latest news or key takeaway is on Thursday this week, we have a bigger webinar that we're doing along with the Microsoft Elevate team, starting I think at 11 East African time. And it's quite interesting. The kind of things we'll be looking at. The many things that we've been talking about since the year started around the agents and what is upcoming. But besides that, I think there are a couple of items that we'll be also announcing during this particular webinar. So feel free to reach out. If you can register, if you go to Sibasi.academy, you'll get to see all the upcoming sessions. I think we are planning now for the next quarter. If you have any recommendations, or there's something that you want us to cover in the coming quarter, we'd be happy to hear your thoughts. You can always reach out to us directly, or write requesting for the same, or you just go to Sibasi.academy. There's a way to give feedback to us on the requests, and we are happy to actually continue these engagements. My second, I think, key takeaway or latest news, we need to have a better name for this, Edwin, but yeah, second item is that we are launching the eBoard has some interesting items that are coming around due diligence, and being able to do your board evaluations in a much more deeper scale. I'm excited. I've seen some of that coming on. It's quite interesting, the kind of things that we'll be able to do. Hopefully we'll get to showcase this in a formal launch. And we also have an event that we're also participating in called What Women Want, happening from Friday to Sunday. If you go to whatwomenwant.com, you'll get to see what details there is. A lot of packed sessions, very interesting. So if you've not checked that out, just go to the website. And I think there's a lot of real value that I've seen in terms of the prep and we'll be participating as part of that. Those are my top three takeaways and latest news from my end. Edwin, over to you.
Great. I think mine would be probably 2, right? I don't know if you can see my screen. Right. Now that we've been talking about co-pilots and agents, the journey to that would definitely be for any of the organizations that have joined us today. Are you leveraging co-pilot right now? If you're not, then it would be a good time to take advantage of the offer that is running. So Microsoft have a limited offer, I think, discount offer, which should run till the end of June. If we have the news right. So you could take this particular time to, get 1 or 2 or 3 and see how that would enable your business to start getting the advantage of, running AI on top of it, right? So that would be the first one. So there's some pretty good discounts running, and this is bundled up with your licenses. So for example, if you're an existing client and you're running probably business standard or business premium, then you probably get that at a cost of $18. So you can just add that on top of it, and start leveraging. There's a lot of things that you're able to do with it. I can tell you that we run the same licenses within our organization, that it's helped us to be a lot more responsive, and especially within the area that we play in, generating proposals, being able to get feedback in good time. So there's a lot of things that you're able to use it as well. So feel free to reach out to us, because we're a Microsoft partner. We can help you to, secure the licenses as well, and get some good discounts on it while you're at it, so we can be able to improve on that, especially if you're getting a good number of licenses. Yes, and also we can help you with regards to, the journey. If you have the licenses and you don't know how to utilize them, we do offer training as well with regards to Copilot, just the adoption of it. So we can take you through probably an hour of training in terms of how you can be able to use Copilot in Word, in Outlook, in Teams, the various aspects, and then we can then start reimagining of how can we apply this within your various contexts. So that would be it in terms of the latest news. The other one is if you're on here and probably you're a nonprofit, of course there are discounts that you get, and especially from a unified data perspective, if you're still running on anything Excel, or you have different systems that are manual, there are some grants that Microsoft have given, especially from a Dataverse perspective, the platform that holds your data. So there are some grants that you can take advantage of, and those are available for the nonprofit organization. So feel free to reach out to us and see how we can be able to optimize your operations, start to get you AI ready. Our conversations this year is just looking at a frontier organization, and a frontier organization in 2026 is an organization that is AI ready. And we said your AI is only as good as the data that is grounded on. So feel free to reach out to us with regards to that conversation of getting you AI ready. I think those are the latest news that I have from my side. Amos, over to you. I think we can close it, right?
Yes. Yeah, fantastic. And thank you. Just as Edwin said, we really appreciate you taking time off your day to join in on this call. We are very excited about, how this first quarter kind of engagements have gone. And you can rest assured that it's something that from just the engagement that we've had so far, we want to keep doing, and we are going to keep engaging. And we believe that there's a lot more that, some of the sessions we've had trying to compress as much as possible within a short time. But, just making the time to listen in, just see what are the capabilities and what, is possible. We do it for you. And we really appreciate you taking time to listen in and engage with us. So we hope to hear more from you. In case you have any particular requests, we'll be happy to engage. We'll be happy to see how best we can be able to plan for such within the upcoming quarter. But in case, unless there is any immediate question that comes up, I don't see any. We really appreciate and wish you all a fantastic day ahead. We hope to catch up on the next one. Wish you a good day.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.